Hi guys, it's Miss Arneson. I'm making this video to show you guys how to do a DQI, or if you already know, to refresh your memory. A DQI stands for Details, Questions, and Inferences. Mr. Arneson and I both use this tool a lot in class, and today we're going to use this picture to practice doing a DQI together. Okay, what is a DQI? Like, why do Mr. Arneson and I make you do it all the time? Well, it's a really good tool for figuring out what a resource means, what it's about, or why it was made. And so a lot of times teachers rely on asking you questions. So we'll have a list of questions we want you to try to answer. But the reason the DQI is better, in Mr. Arneson's opinion and in mine, is because you're going to ask the questions. And if you can do this as a class and everyone's asking a bunch of questions, then you guys come up with better questions than we ever do. Like, you always really get to the meat of whatever it is we're trying to show you. So let's see what it stands for. The D stands for details. And what you're going to do when we ask you to find details is just look at the resource and look at whatever is in it. So you're kind of just describing it. So if you're looking at a text message and you're going to find details in it, you would just be looking at what the text message says. Not really figuring out why somebody sent it, but you're just looking at it. So let's say you get a text message and it is all in caps and it says, "You better get home right now. Your curfew was 2 hours ago!" Exclamation point. That's the details. Questions. Questions are asking questions about the resource you're looking at. So really, this is all generated by you. You might ask a question about the text message. "Where are you? You better be home. Your curfew was 2 hours ago." You might say, "Why is this written in all caps?" Okay, so that would be a question about it. Why is the person angry? Who wrote this text? Okay, those are questions about the text. And inferences always seem like the hardest part of a DQI, but you guys make inferences all day, every day. An inference is something that you figure out using the clues and your brain's interpretation of the resource that you're looking at. So if we're looking at that text and we ask, why is it in all caps? One of the answers to those questions, which would be an inference, is your mom is really mad at you. Okay? Who wrote the text? Well, obviously it was your parent, right? Or your guardian, whoever wants you to be home by a certain curfew. So inferences are things you figure out, and they feel really hard to do because they can't be directly stated. Like, the text message information I gave you did not say it was from mom, and it did not say that she was angry, but you figured it out based on the clues that were in the resource. Let's do this as an example together so that we can get a little more experience and practice. Okay, let me move my face so it's not covering our little picture. Okay, so this is a picture that was taken, and I'm not going to tell you anything more about it because let's just notice details. Okay, the first thing I notice is that there's a kid peeing on the wall. Okay, the second thing I notice is there's this big red check, which I know is the Nike symbol, and it says "Just do it." Now, this is almost an inference because it doesn't say Nike on here. And if it did, then it would be like completely a detail. But because it doesn't say Nike, I'm figuring it out because I know that their tagline is "Just do it," and that's their check mark. Okay, the kid doesn't have any shoes on. That's a detail. There's a lot of trash on the ground. Okay, so if you look around, there's a lot of trash. These are all details that you can see in the picture. It doesn't tell us why, okay, about anything. It just says what's there. It's just looking at the what. Sometimes we'll have you watch a video as the resource. Sometimes we'll have you read an article as the resource. And a lot of times we'll just have you look at a picture. But you can figure a lot out just by what you already know and what the picture shows. Okay, I put these two examples on here to show you what does not count as a detail. Dirt. Dirt is not in a complete sentence, and it doesn't say anything about the dirt. So if you wanted to, you could write, "The kid is standing on dirt." That would be a correct way to make a detail. Okay, the kid is maybe 8 or 9. This is actually an inference because it does not say what the age of the kid is. We don't know how old he is just looking at the picture. We can guess, but if we guess, then that's an inference. So we're not going to count this as a detail. You'd actually get more points if you wrote that down than just a detail amount of points, in my class at least. Okay, let's move on to questions. Okay, questions, I can always come up with like a billion questions when I'm looking at these. But when you first start out, you might think like, wow, it's kind of hard to come up with questions. But let's just look at the details that we notice and see that some of the details can be turned into questions. Why doesn't the kid have any shoes? We noticed that detail in the last slide, but now we're trying to figure out what's wrong. Why doesn't he have shoes? We would hope he has shoes. I mean, he's peeing on the wall. There's going to be pee on the ground. Okay? Have other people also peed on the wall? If you look, it seems like maybe a lot of people have peed on this wall. Okay? Where was this picture taken? Okay? How old is the kid? Why is the Nike logo and tagline there? What is this doing on this seemingly like derelict wall? Okay, here's a question that does not, I wouldn't give you points for this one. Okay? What dinosaurs used to live in this setting? That doesn't really have anything to do with this resource at all. So is that a question that you could ask about the picture? I guess, but it doesn't really apply. And so in class, you want to be a little bit smarter than that and ask some questions that you can actually address. Okay, let's get to the inferences. Remember, inferences, you can just answer the question. So if we were looking back at the question, why is the Nike symbol there? You might guess, this is where Nike shoes are made. And I apologize, there's a question mark right there. There should not be. This picture was taken in the developing world, like India or Mexico. So I look at this kid, here's a Chihuahua, so that's why it makes me think Mexico, because that's where Chihuahuas are from. But the kid also has dark brown skin and he has dark hair. So that's why I'm thinking maybe someplace like India or Mexico. The developing world is what we used to call third world countries, where they don't have like all the roads paved and not everybody has a car and the internet and stuff like that. We could say, well, why doesn't that kid have any shoes? Remember we asked that question, and it looks like I didn't erase this question mark either. The kid doesn't have any shoes because he's really poor. So that, I mean, I'm just guessing he's really poor. I don't know for sure, but it's a good inference based on the information that I'm given. I think that this kid works in the factory. I think he is forced to work here even though he's really young. Here's where the statement, the kid looks about 8 or 9 goes. And remember, I put a question mark. I'm so sorry. And then his name is Daniel. There's no way for me to know that. So, I mean, yeah, I could just randomly guess this, but I couldn't justify why I'm guessing his name is Daniel. Okay, if he had the name Daniel on his shirt, then I might say I think his name is Daniel. But he doesn't, so I can't use that as an inference because it doesn't really apply. And last, he's peeing on the wall. That's not an inference. That is really shown in the picture. I did not have to figure that out. You can see it directly in the picture, so that wouldn't count as an inference. Hope this video helps you guys.